Hey everyone, it's Angela, and tonight I'm going to be doing my season 5, episode 7 Pretty Little Liars recap, The Silence of Elam. And I just have to say that this episode really disappointed me. I felt that we've come so far in season 5, and tonight was a letdown with a lot of fluff and like very few interesting little tidbits. We got the new Bethany sketches. We got to meet Big Rhonda. We're speculating on where Allie is going. And we got to see a very interesting A scene, in my opinion, but we'll get to all that in a little bit. The episode opens with Pam inviting Allison over for dinner, and she says that she wants to show Allie an adult ear is always there to listen to her, but we later find out she has an ulterior motive. She wanted to see how Emily felt about Allie before Allie disappeared, and Emily confessed to her mom that she had feelings for Allie. Now, the girls are talking about this weird invite in the bathroom where nobody can hear you and you're completely alone. Because I had so many of those conversations in my day. But the scene showed the building discontentment between Hannah and Allie. And the whole episode really just kept adding and adding and adding to it. And I found that pretty interesting because I'm curious as to where it will go. We know Allie's eventually going to stay with Hannah for a bit. I think that's the next episode. And Hannah's just going to keep falling down, like going deeper and deeper. The girls leave the bathroom with the exception of Emily and Allie. And Allie asked Emily to walk her home. I think this was because Allie can see Hannah's distancing herself and Spencer and Aria might soon start. So she's trying to rein back her one ally, the one that she can always manipulate. And they're also talking about the bruises on Allie's neck from Black Hoodie and how she wants to cover them up to avoid the questions from her teachers. And Sydney Driscoll just strolls out of the bathroom stall, says, "Oh, nice to meet you," to Allie, "Love your scarf," and then proceeds to tell Emily about the dead rat found in Paige's locker. Emily exits the bathroom and runs into Moda, who says it's more of a man's thing to do when confronted about it. And I found that interesting because, like people like to say, everything on the show is scripted. The lines are there for a reason. Mona had Noel Kahn's folder under her arm, and she said it was his notes because he owed her a favor. I don't think Mona and Noel are working together. I haven't thought it from episode 1 of season 1, to be honest with you. I think that Noel is working with Allie. We know that Noel has a secret and it's going to play out in this episode. Excuse me. But I don't know what that secret is. I'm just pretty sure that he is not bad. I think he kind of has to keep an eye on things and was doing that more so in season 1. Even though he did blackmail Ezra. Ezra's just shady, so he deserved the blackmail, to be honest with you. So Hannah runs into Caleb at school, who says that he's there to take his exit interview. And Hannah's really worried because she doesn't want to have to go through a custody battle with her friends. And he says, even if they're not there for you, I always will be. And my heart melted a little bit. I was like, oh, Caleb is back together. And we later find out that Caleb walked out on the exit interview because he didn't see the point of algebra and civics in everyday life. I think it was because he wanted to be with Hannah at school and just in Rosewood in general, and I hope they get back together. I really hope so. I'm sorry, I just love Caleb. So Aria goes to Radley and runs into Eddie Lamb, and he questions her about volunteering for the summer reading program. He thinks he's seen her there before, and she denies it, and we all know she's been there before visiting Mona. Aria is in her first art class and fanning the drawings out on the table, and the Bethany drawing is in the stack. Big Rhonda sees it and freaks out and calls Aria a thief, and we find out that Big Rhonda was, in fact, Bethany's roommate at Radley. And I found that one really interesting as well. I think Big Rhonda knows something, and I think Aria needs to kind of push and dig a little bit deeper, meaning she'll be at Radley a whole lot this season, at least in the first half, I hope. Um, Melissa is back home and Peter is staying in her apartment. Melissa wants to get to the bottom of things, and I don't know. I think the ship has sailed between Peter and Veronica, to be quite honest with you. I don't think there's any love lost. They have maybe two kids together, and I just think they're tired of each other, to be quite honest. I don't think there's any hope of reconciliation. But Melissa has a bag in her hands, and she says that her dad was eating and left food out, and Spencer is demanding to do something, and so she grabs the bag, and a dead rat pops out. And Melissa goes, I told you Dad left food out, which this was shocking to me because, A, people like the Hastings don't have a messy house. Where the hell is their housekeeper? And B, I didn't know Peter ate anything. I just thought he drank all the time. I don't know. I think Melissa knows who put the dead rat in Paige's locker if she didn't do so herself. Which, speaking of Paige, she stayed home from school because she was scared this episode, and I just want to backhand her so hard. It's unbelievable. Paige is scared of a dead rat. Come on now, Paige. Maybe she's working for the A-team again. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, Spencer and Ezra are moving Ezra's spy stuff to a friend's shed. And the best quote of the episode was Spencer going, wow, I forgot how enthusiastic you were about watching things. A little frostiness between them. It clears up a bit. But I think he has more somewhere. I don't think he's willing to give away all his creeper tools. I think he's definitely hiding more somewhere else. Now, Toby's house is still standing. And this was just like, what? Like, did extreme renovation come through and fix it up real quick? Or are they tearing it down? I didn't understand. I thought that the explosion kind of made the house just go poof and everything was falling in on each other. I didn't know that there would be a frame still of the house. It was crazy. But Emily confronts Mona outside of Toby's mysteriously still standing house. And Emily talks to her about the rat, about her thinking she put the rat in there. And Mona says, you can call me a lot of things, but don't call me amateur. So that made me kind of hesitate for a second. Mona said it might be more of a man's thing to do in the beginning, and I'm agreeing with her there. I think Mona knows that the rat was put in there and by who, but I don't think she did it herself. I think maybe it was the mystery person that drove up to the meeting between Mona and Jenna and Sydney, that we have no idea who it is yet, but we'll have to find that one out. Now, Ezra is talking to Spencer outside of his friend's storage shed, and he says all those boxes and all those words, and it wasn't even the book I wanted to write. He says he wanted to write about his family, and he was going to figure it out all on paper, but he couldn't, so he wanted to try and solve the mystery instead, but he couldn't do that either. He just feels like he intensified the problem. Well, of course you intensify the problem, Ezra, because you're evil. Plain and simple, you're evil. I really don't think he wanted to write about his family, to be honest with you. I think it was something else. Maybe it really was about Allie and he's just trying to cover his own tracks. I'm not quite sure on where Ezra stands. I think he's bad. I think he's hiding something. So Spencer wants to borrow a camera to spy on Melissa. And he tells her that maybe we should put down the puzzles and just walk away. And I was like, hold the phone, Ezra. Puzzles are fun. Maybe because you have trouble concentrating on things, they aren't fun for you. But for some people, puzzles are great. And don't you dare tell Spencer to stop with puzzles, okay? Sorry. Done with the Ezra rant. So Rhonda comes in and confronts Bethany and tells her that Aria and tells her that Bethany left her the drawings. I cannot talk tonight. I am so sorry. She tells Aria that she's a thief and thieves get their hands cut off. And Arya's face is just like, my rings, what will I wear my precious rings on? And I just found that highly entertaining. And he comes in and rescues Arya, essentially, is what happens. Arya gets stuck at Radley. She wants to find out more about Big Rhonda, and she texts and says that she'll be late with dinner with Martha Stewart and crazy drunk girls. Emily comes in to confront Hannah about missing her mom's dinner and sees beer bottles on the counter, and Hannah tells her that her mom washes her hair with beer. I thought that was genius, but Hannah gets suckered into coming, and she kind of doesn't want to. She opens up a little bit to Emily about Allie being really needy lately, but she kind of keeps everything else under wraps for now. Back at Radley, Rhonda is screaming that everyone is taking her stuff and comes back into her room where Arya has been snooping around trying to find things. Which, by the way, Arya, never turn your back to an open door, okay? People can come in behind you. That's where this little A person can easily sneak in, or Eddie Lamb with a cleaver. I don't think Rhonda's bad. I think Rhonda is your friend, and you need to talk to Rhonda and find out some information about your girl Bethany Young. That's what I think. But Arya gets forced to hide under the bed, and she finds a sketchbook of Bethany's drawings, and we get some new Bethany pictures in this book, in this episode. Very interesting things to dissect. So anyway, Allie and Hannah are talking about Caleb, and Hannah says that she trusts him, but Allie does not, and she warns her to keep a clear head about Caleb. And Hannah goes, are you telling me not to see Caleb? And at that moment, I just wanted Allie to just be slapped so freaking hard. But the popovers are announced. So the girls go inside, and Hannah sees this vodka bottle on the patio table with all the little refreshments. Which, why on earth would Pam Fields put a vodka bottle for a bunch of underage girls out on her patio? She should know better. She really should. Arya leaves Radley and runs into Eddie, and he asks her what she's looking for. I think Arya should have told Eddie. I think Eddie might be an ally. He wants them to know something is going on, but he's interested in self-preservation, and I think he would be able to help them, but it's really hard for them to be able to tell who can help you at Radley or even in Rosewood, period. You know, you can't trust anybody there. And as Arya's driving away, Eddie calls Ezra, and we know he sets up an appointment or a meeting, and Ezra waits around for an hour, and Eddie never shows up. I'll get to that more toward the end. Let's see. Oh, the girls are at the dinner and having a whole bunch of fun, and Allie is just, you know, being her usual deceptive self, and Hannah is not buying into the BS. Allie says something about, you know, there were times in the dark when I would think, what did I do to deserve any of this? And if you have to ask yourself that question, Allie, you don't know what is going on. But Pam tells her friends are special, and Hannah's like, no, you're the one that's special, Allie. There's nobody else like you in the world. And we get into Hannah's drinking problem a bit. Emily figures it out and kicks her out of the house. She needed a drink, as she said, to go with all that baloney at dinner. And I do not blame her one bit. Give me 1 second and I'm going to start part 2.